What we have today is a chrome Casablanca Delta II. It has a 4-blade only flywheel with walnut Wait a minute. What is that right there? Huh. It's a Slumber 5 click knob. But this finish was never offered in Slumber 5. Custom order? Did they exclude it from the catalog? Maybe. Who knows? What we have today is a chrome Casablanca Delta II with Slumber 5. This fan was manufactured September of 1985, meaning it was one of the last Slumber 5 fans ever made, as you rarely see a Slumber 5 fan from the latter half of 85. And the model number, CB14555, with no D on the end, as D would indicate Slumber 3. Very shiny and reflective. Chrome is in very nice shape, not pitting or tarnishing at all, which is great. And the fan did come 100% complete. I'm just not using the hang true for this particular mounting setup, as per usual. So I've talked about it a few times on my channel before, but Slumber 5 was the very short-lived 5-speed control system used by Casablanca in the year 1985. The control system, I believe, was meant to replace Slumber Quiet, as in 1984, SQ was being phased out in favor of IntelliTouch, as it was very restricted in how often it was used, it seems. However, Casablanca was not quite done with pull chain/knob setup control systems yet, as in 1985 they rolled out Slumber 5. Which, in theory, and by looking at the outside of the fan, you'd think is very similar to Slumber Quiet, as you have a pull chain that turns the fan and lights on and off, and then a knob that controls the speed. Of course, though, in this case, it's a 5-speed click knob as opposed to a variable speed rotary knob. And again, in theory, and by looking at the outside, you'd think they're similar. But looking at the internal electronics, they are quite different. Slumber Quiet was just a board with all necessary electronics soldered on, and then you just plug in all the wires with little plastic plugs. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Slumber 5, however, is a lot more complicated. It has a speed coil, it has ribbon cables, and several joints put together with what looks like hot glue from a hot glue gun in a middle school woodshop class. The control system is a bloody mess. There are so many little parts in there, so much going on, it is a nightmare to handle and have to work with. While the reliability overall is much higher than Slumber Quiet, if one of these were to fail, oh boy, would it be a nightmare to fix it or convert it to another system, such as Slumber 3. So for that reason, or perhaps people were just getting tired of having to reach all the way up to the fan and turn a knob to change the speed, and possibly getting their fingers destroyed in the blade rotation, this system was phased out rather fast. It did not even last the full year of 85, as I mentioned before, it's pretty rare to see one of these in the latter half of the year 85. And by 1986, they had fully gone to just Slumber 3 and IntelliTouch. So we'll turn the fan on, starting with the first speed. Zoomed in a little too far, that's better. This is your nice aesthetic low. It's just a little bit faster than speed 1 on an IntelliTouch fan. And Slumber 5 was not offered on many models at all. According to the 85 catalog, unless I'm mistaken, it was only offered on the Delta II and on the Low Ceiling series, which was a Four Seasons variation that they'd been toying with since, I believe, 83. As in 83 and 84, they had the Low Ceiling Gallery Four Seasons, or whatever it was, with the compact light and the mushroom globe. Okay, turning up to speed number 2, more of a functional low now. So, as mentioned before, this fan and this finish did not appear in the 1985 catalog. The Delta II with Slumber 5 did appear in every other finish that would have been on the market at the time. Antique white, traditional brown, antique brass, polished brass, and there may have also been a white and brass combo advertised in the catalog too. Chrome was oddly absent though. Also charcoal black, but that finish was like completely on hiatus that year anyways. Though, come to think of it, chrome may have been too. Does chrome appear at all in the 85 catalog? It definitely wasn't on the Zephyr or the Four Seasons or any of those models. And they did bring chrome back in 86, I believe, as I think chrome was in the 86 catalog on the Delta II. So yeah, pretty weird. Though, weird cannot even begin to describe Casablanca's finish decisions when it came to what they said could be on certain fans and what could not be on certain fans. I will never understand some of the decision making as to why certain fans were restricted from being in certain finishes. The only explanation I can think of is low sale numbers. What do I mean by this? Well, take the Zephyr for instance. That fan in the K63 era was, as far as I know, offered in all 9 finishes. Polished copper kind of sufficing, as that one was oddly very rare in the K63 era, not entirely sure why, but yeah, all 9 finishes. Then when the K55 era rolls around, the Delta is introduced as a sister model to the Zephyr, which gets some finishes while the Zephyr gets others. The Delta got plated finishes like white, brown, and black, while the Zephyr got plated finishes like the brasses, the coppers, pewter, and chrome. Yet the Zephyr could still be had in finish combinations like white and brass, brown and brass, black and brass. Okay, so you do that. Yet they did the same thing, kind of, to the Four Seasons. The Four Seasons was also restricted from several painted finishes, such as brown and black. Yet it was still advertised and offered in white, for some reason. And the Four Seasons, as far as I know, was never offered in brown and brass or black and brass, at least in terms of being offered straight in the catalog. Again, white and brass was offered. And then the Victorian, caught in between this mess, was offered in several finish combinations, but not nearly as often a complete finish. The Victorian got white and brass, black and brass, and polished copper. It never got all polished copper, though, but it did get all antique copper. And then, of course, it got antique brass and polished brass as well. And then, in the K63 era of the Victorian, very rarely have all antique white and all chrome Victorians popped up, even though All chrome Victorians, I'm pretty sure, were never a thing in the K55 era, and all white ones may have been a thing via custom order. Not entirely sure. Or maybe they were custom order in the K63 era too. I couldn't tell you. Oops, sun's coming out again. It's going to get brighter. So, yeah, it's pretty messed up. It's very hard to keep track of, to say the least. I'll never understand why the Four Seasons was restricted so many finishes, like the Zephyr was, but unlike the Zephyr, it didn't get a sister model to get the finishes that the Four Seasons didn't get. Again, the only explanation I can think of is that brown and black Four Seasons had very low sales in the K63 days. So they just thought, nah, there's not really a reason to have these around anymore. As like a main advertised thing. You could still get them via custom order, as custom order, of course, was the saving grace to these restrictions. If you wanted a black Four Seasons in the year 1982, custom order it. If you wanted a chrome IntelliTouch Casablanca Zephyr in the year 1986, custom order it. Bada bing, bada boom, you can get what you want. Which, I'm certainly glad that custom order existed, as it allows for more finish variation, but at the same time, it's a little bit annoying because now certain finishes are extremely rare, when if you just offered them regularly, they may not be as rare. But again, from a marketing standpoint, I can kind of understand why they may have cut some finishes out. Okay, there's high. Talked straight through speeds 3 and 4. I apologize for that, but I could talk for hours about the weird decision-making behind Casablanca's restrictive finishes and all that stuff. Fan is very well balanced, which is nice. The fan originally came with snow white blades that were a bit warped and yellowed out, so I swapped them out for a nice set of walnut. Since the fan is from '85, it does have an Asterson motor in it, which the bearings can be scratchy in sometimes, but not today. Today they're quiet. So this fan, in terms of being custom order, I'd put my money on yes, I believe this was a custom order. The main reason I think that is because of how late in '85 this fan was manufactured. So it makes me think they said, I want a chrome Delta II with Slumber 5, so they specifically put that together. When at this point, if they just ordered a Delta II regularly, I'm not sure if chrome would have been offered as a finish, and they probably would have just had a Slumber 3 one. Alrighty, there you go. A chrome Casablanca Delta II with Slumber 5.